Welcome back, y'all. I'm Brandon, and this is episode 5 of Brandon Burning Food. I'm going to be showing y'all today how to make what I call taco chicken, and it's going to be going along with oven rice, which is one of my favorite ways to make rice, and it's something I really recommend for someone who doesn't have a rice cooker. It is the best way to do it. But yeah, this is a recipe that I sort of came up with a few years back. I know other people do it, but this is how I do it, so let's get down to the ingredients. First and foremost, we have our chicken. Today is boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Normally I use boneless, skinless thighs for this, but they didn't have those at the grocery store this morning, and I just happened to have these in my freezer. As you can see, they were pretty cheap, right about $4.80 for all four, and we are going to be using all four. Just like every other recipe that I do, this makes leftovers. So, yep, here's the chicken. Alright, we've got our other ingredients right here. We've got 3 peppers, well, 4 peppers really if you count the jalapeno. We've got 1 jalapeno, 1 red bell pepper, a yellow one, and an orange one. We've got a whole yellow onion, 2 packets of taco seasoning mix, a little jar of salsa, and some chicken broth. The salsa and the chicken broth kind of combine to give the slow cooker the liquid that it needs to cook, and also we're going to be using the chicken broth later for our rice. As for the peppers, those are really interchangeable. If you wanted to add green in there, do all green, take the jalapeno out, add more, substitute it for another pepper, whatever. You can absolutely do that. This is just the way that I do it, but feel free to experiment. One of the things I like about this dish is it is very malleable. You can do a lot to it and it still comes out great. One of the phrases that I use a lot on this channel is blank canvas. That's kind of what this is. It's what you make it. But let's get these prepped up and I will get back to you when everything's about to go into the pot. Alright, so for the pre-seasoning on this, we're actually just going to be using just normal taco seasoning, and you're going to sprinkle this on both sides of the chicken and pat it in. You'll notice I'm wearing black nitrile gloves. You should do that anytime you handle raw meat, really. I know I haven't done it in every video before, but you should. And especially chicken. So let's get to seasoning. I'll be back. And here's everything ready to go into the crock pot. We got our chicken breasts rubbed down with taco seasoning mix, and we've just kind of let them sit in that for a little bit. 1 whole onion, sliced up pretty thin, but not too thin. Jalapeno pepper. I cored half of it and left the core in the other half. That'll give it some heat without too much, and just chopped it up pretty coarsely. And then we've got our peppers. Just sliced down the middle, you know, removing any pith and seeds from the outside. So I'm going to set the camera up so I can show you how to add all this stuff to the crock pot, and I'll be back. Alright, so I know I just said that I was going to show you how to put all this into the crock pot. Unfortunately, one of the limitations of this tiny kitchen is I just could not get an angle on it, the way the microwave and everything is laid out. So in lieu of that, I'm going to just tell you what I did. On the bottom, I put about half the little jar of salsa that I had. I had a little jar, so if you have a big jar, don't use half unless you really, really like salsa. So half the little jar of salsa, then some chicken broth, and then I layered the chicken breasts on top of it, and then in layers I did onions, jalapenos, bell peppers, and then sprinkled more taco mix over top of it, as well as the rest of the salsa. I put some butter in there because, again, I make good food, not healthy food. And I put a little bit of taco sauce in there. I don't normally do that last part, the taco sauce and the butter, but I figured it can't hurt it. So pretty much all we have left to do is lid on to low, lights on, we're good to go. This is going to go into the crock pot and stay there for about 5 hours. Alright guys, so now I'm going to explain to y'all what I meant earlier when I said oven rice. This is my favorite way to make rice, and it's super easy. Basically what you want to do is preheat your oven to 375 degrees. And then for your rice to liquid mixture, you're going to do 2 parts liquid to 1 part rice. So for example, tonight I'm doing 1.5 cups of rice to 3 cups of chicken broth. Super easy. Put the chicken broth or whatever kind of liquid you want to use. You can use water, you can use any kind of other stock. It's just chicken broth is my favorite, so that's what I'm using tonight. So I'll take my 3 cups of chicken broth and put them in the pot, bring that to a boil, You can also add butter to the broth if you want. I'll probably do that tonight just to make it taste a little better. After the liquid comes to a boil, then you add your rice and then you stir it and bring that back to a boil. Once it's at a boil, put the lid on the pot and put it in the preheated oven at 375 and don't touch it at all. Don't open the oven door, don't take the lid off the pot for 22 minutes. At that point, your rice is done. All you have to do is pull it out of the oven. I usually let it sit for about 5 minutes after it comes out of the oven, and you're good to go. That's literally it. Like, I was gonna show y'all how to do this, but I figured it would honestly eat up a bunch of time, and if anything, it would just be boring, because who likes watching a pot of liquid boil? Anyway, I will be back when everything is done and good to go, and show y'all what the finished products look like. Alright, so we've got about an hour to go, and I just did the last step that I actually realized I forgot to talk about until this point. What I did was, I added 2 cans of drained corn and tossed it in with the peppers and onions on top. I then added some salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and cumin. We're going to let this go for about another hour or so. And at that point, it'll put us right about 6 hours, I think. It's taken a little longer than I thought, but oh well. It smells wonderful in here, and I can't wait. And alright, y'all. Here we have it. The finished taco chicken with oven rice. Can't wait to get into this. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.